Hello, it's me, Gary, with my last video of the month. Put this guitar down. That was kind of an arrangement of a song called Vestapol, tune D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. And I've been playing that, sometimes better than that, for a long time. The very first time that I played it was in the back room of a pub in Hartlepool called the Cat Court, which was notorious for all kinds of reasons. And it was the very first time that I think that I'd played anywhere in public. But I wanted to impress people, so I'd been practicing that. But I was so nervous. We did a couple of songs, a friend of mine, songs that I still do. Then it came time to do that. But I was so nervous that I started it out at breakneck speed. And once you start playing a piece like that at breakneck speed, you've got to keep on going. So I did. It got quite difficult at the end because the whole of my forearm, this whole muscle here, swelled up to twice its size because I was doing that with my right hand all the time. And it was so swollen up that when it finished, I had to go to the bar, get one of the bar towels, fill it full of ice and rub it around my arm. One day I'll get it right, I'm sure. And I learned it from a Stefan Grossman Kicking Mule guitar instruction album. It's the only one I learned off the album, but it stands me in good stead. It's good to whip it out now and again. I've got one thing to talk about and then a few comments, and then I'll leave you to your normal programs. Yeah. Like many of us, we acoustic guitar players are always searching for that sound. Sometimes many of us are quite happy to take a guitar with a pickup in it and plug it into PA and just go with that. And we get a great sound. It depends, of course, on the pickup, whether the guitar has a preamp built in, and on the guitar itself, and what you're looking for with regards to sound. Others, like me, spend a lot of time and money looking for the sound. And sometimes, even when we find the sound, it only takes a few months or weeks or a shiny new bauble to come along and think, oh, do I need one of those? And just before this video, I was looking on YouTube at another preamp that somebody recommended. I put it in the basket and I was going to buy it, and I decided, no, you don't need that. And I'll tell you why I don't need that. Preamps, let's talk about them. Lots of guitars with a piezo pickup underneath the bridge. You get that quacky sound that people don't like. But a lot of them have an onboard preamp. Bass, middle treble, a tuner, a volume and that kind of thing. And that can help you get the sound you want. Other people have guitars that don't have those pickups. You might have a magnetic sound hole pickup, like I've got on my K-Yari guitar that I mainly play. But that doesn't have any onboard controls, and I don't want to cut a hole in the side, obviously. So you have to look to external controls, external preamps. Well, I've tried a few. This one is fantastic. It's a Fender Acoustic Preverb. Yes, it's got reverb and it's a preamp. And that was on my acoustic board for quite some time. Again, you can control the timing of the reverb, different types of reverb, and some EQ too. Nice piece of kit. And you might think, oh, well, he's got that. What else does it need? Well, let's go over here. You can't buy these anymore, which is why I'm not selling this one. And this is, if you like, a version of a much more expensive control pedal, DI box, preamp and everything. It's not just for acoustic guitar, but it works really well for that. It's got all kinds of controls on it. It runs off a battery or phantom power like most of these do. And you can tweak this to get exactly the sound you want if you have the time to put in to get used to the way the controls work. So there's two that I've got. But wait. The Fishman Tone Deck, my favourite. In fact, I like it so much that when I sold the first one that I had, because I went with an acoustic amp and didn't get the sound I wanted, I've ended up back with one of these. And if I have only to take one pedal to an acoustic gig, this is the one that I take. Not only is it a preamp, of course, and a DI box, but it's got effects, reverb, chorus, delay, tremolo and flanger. Although I've never flanged my acoustic guitar, I have to say. But this sounds blinking marvellous. This particular one has a problem with the power circuit, won't run off mains, but it does run off battery, although it eats them quite quickly. But wait, let's go with this one. I mentioned earlier about a previous guitar that I had where I couldn't get the sound I liked and went down a whole rabbit hole of preamps, impulse responses and so on. And I bought one of these. NUX Optima Air. Yes, it's an acoustic guitar preamp. It has reverb on it, and also you can upload onto it impulse responses. And I went all down that rabbit hole, watched hundreds of YouTube videos, imported loads of impulse responses to it, and it works really well. Not just for acoustic guitar. It works great for electric or bass. When I was playing bass in the Herbal Remedy, this had a fantastic impulse response of an Ampeg 8x10 bass cabinet, which I can't carry of course, and it sounded great through a powered speaker from this. But wait, I haven't finished yet. Let's go with this. This is a nifty little thing that I got off Temu. I know people don't like Temu, but this was about 25 quid. First of all, it's rechargeable, so you don't need any cables. Secondly, it's got some bonny flashing lights, and who doesn't like a bonny flashing light? Thirdly, it's you can load impulse responses into it, but it's also got effects, amp models, cab simulations, EQ of course, and a tuner built in as well for about 25 quid from China. And I have an electric guitar model of this as well. Easy to keep in your gig bag. If you're going to somebody else's gig and you're going to sit on 2 or 3 songs, if you're invited, you don't want to turn up with a huge pedal board and take up floor space, and people might think, who does he think he is? If you have something like this, or the Fishman, just keep it in your gig bag. And do you mind if I just use this? As I mentioned, I have the electric version of that, electric guitar version, and I used it to sit in with some good friends of mine not too long ago at an impromptu suggestion that I sit in. But wait, this is a slightly bigger model of the one I've just shown you. This is mains powered. Vailton do all kinds of great pedals. I do have their bass preamp pedal, which has also got effects on. So this has a XLR out, of course. You can go straight to the desk, as well as the other stuff. But it too has reverb, a preamp with various controls, and compression. And this sounds great. If you're going to go to take one pedal, you might take that one. But wait. Finally, for now, I have this, which I picked up in a well-known store that begins with cash and ends with converters at a ridiculously cheap price, and I knew exactly that it was worth about 4 times the price that I paid for it. It is an amp in a pedal, it has 2 channels, and it's mainly designed for electric guitar. Once again, if you're going to play some electric guitar at somebody else's gig or at a jam night, and you're not going to lug a pedal board and an amp just to sit in on 3 tunes, something like this, which you can plug straight into the PA, sounds great. If you can imagine playing a Strat direct to a PA, sounds horrible. Through this, because it's an amplifier and it's got cab simulation in it, sounds much better. One of these channels is alleged to sound like a Fender Tweed, I think, and the other is alleged to sound like a Mesa Boogie something or other, which I never use. It's got reverb. It's just really, really useful. I think that's all the preamps and things I've got kicking around for now. I have over the past few months been using a Headrush gig board, which is an all-in-one unit, which has amps, cabs, impulse responses, effects and everything on it, and I'm 95% of the way to that being my entire playing stuff for electric and acoustic. And once that happens, many of these things will be moving on to other places. That's about it for now. I just want to recap some of the things that I've said over the past few videos. First of all, thanks for watching. If you have watched, I hope you've heard at least one thing that you've taken on board and thought, oh, that's good. Secondly, with regards to preamps, what works for one person might not work for you. So you need to find what you're looking for in sound. And yes, if you have the luxury of experimenting with all kinds of stuff, then do that. Sometimes you might have to settle with what you have, and that's not a bad thing to do either. It's quite easy to become confused amongst all of this, which I've managed to do with all of these pedals. Whereas actually, if you can keep it simple, then that might be the best thing. And finally, I think, as I mentioned previously, it's not a competition. This is supposed to be fun. Even if you only play for yourself at home in your bedroom, if it's fun, then that's all you need. The day that I stop enjoying playing the guitar is the day that I'll stop playing. But it hasn't happened yet, and I've been here quite a long time. If you want to get in touch with me, ask me anything about anything I've mentioned or anything else, look for me on Facebook, Gary Granger, I have two radio shows which I'll just mention. One is the Blues Show on Bishop FM every Sunday night from 6 o'clock for 3 hours. And I am currently a finalist in the UK Blues Awards, the results of which will come out in about 3 weeks' time. I don't know if I will win. I don't expect to win because there's one Caris Matthews from Radio 2 in the same category. I also have a country rock show called That Country Rock Show, which goes out on a Sunday at 11 o'clock on Bishop FM. But also these two shows are available on Mixcloud, and I'll put the links in the comments to this video if you'd like to check those out. Finally, if you come and see me at a gig, please come and say hello. I'm not doing as many gigs as I used to. I'm not travelling as far as I used to. But if you see me and like a chat, I'll be happy to chat. Thanks a lot for your time. Take care. See you somewhere.